right, welcome to another episode of Jeep Torque. And today we're going to be discussing leveling kits and real lift kits and the decisions that I made along the way with these as well. So we'll start off with the leveling kit. So a leveling kit is basically what it states. If you've ever noticed with some of the Jeeps and even some of the pickup trucks out there, you'll notice that they have an incline down towards the front where the rear is a bit higher than your front. So in order to compensate for that and correct that, you could go ahead and buy what's called a leveling kit. These leveling kits, however, come in different sizes. You have 1.5s, 1 inch, and all the way up to 2 inch. And they're often referred to as hockey pucks. And I actually have one here, and my favorite brand is Terraflex. So this is the one that I have here. And it's your pretty traditional basic one out there that you would get from Terraflex. And this is what it looks like. So basically, this portion here is going to go inside of an cup area up to your frame of your Jeep. There's like a little kind of cup here. This is going to push right into there. And then your actual spring is going to sit up against the bottom part of this here. And then essentially what that does is it gives you whatever this is here. This one is this one's 1.5 inches. It'll give you that 1.5 inch lift, additional lift without installing any sort of new shocks, new springs. It retains all that stock that you have there today. And this is referred to as a hockey puck because it looks like a hockey puck, and I played hockey for many years, and for sure if I shaved this top off, I could use this as a hockey puck. And it's really, it's really strong material. This will last you for a very long time. So this is the front part, okay? And then for the rear part, it comes in a bigger box. So that's the rear there. This one is a bit larger than the one I was just showing you. Same concept though. So basically, your stock ones that are in there, you're gonna pop these things out. This goes up towards inside into the frame of your Jeep. It has this little kind of section here where it'll pop into there. Pulling these out is not fun. You're gonna have to lubricate and use a nice crowbar to get these things out. But once you pop it out, it'll just drop down into the ground. Same thing, hockey puck. It's really thick here. Kind of has a little bit of an insert, if you will, almost like you could put water in here. And then your spring in the rear will go right up against the bottom part here. And that's pretty much it. That is your leveling kit. You install these, or you get the 2 inch, and you're up and rocking with the leveling kit or a 2 inch type of kit. Those are not a 1, 2, 3 installation. You're gonna have to do the same amount of work that you do for a regular lift kit. You're gonna have to go ahead and take your shocks off. You're gonna have to pull the springs out. You're gonna have to loosen up those control arms just so you could get enough drop to get that spring out, and then insert that hockey puck up inside that area and then put everything all back together. So the amount of effort and work that goes into that will almost be the same as doing a regular lift kit. The differences, however, will obviously be in the cost. And that was one of the reasons why I ended up going with the Terraflex first. And this is the one that I was just showing you. It's the actual 1.5 inch. So what I was just showing you on the camera is this piece here. That's this guy there. And then you got these here. Then it comes with some links up front as well for your traction bar that you'll use to replace. Pretty straightforward, right? You look at this and you're like, oh, wow, this is easy to do through a weekend. It is and it isn't. I always say to people, if you could put IKEA furniture together and follow all those steps, or you could take a model remote control car and put one of those together, you could easily do these things on your Jeep. That's how I always approach my Jeep anyway. I do have a mechanical background from my father and my uncle in the shop that they had. So I was lucky to be in that shop as a kid and learning how to weld and do all of this. So I don't get scared at because a lot of times it's more of a worry factor. Am I going to break something? Am I going to have to take it to the dealer? Just take your time, follow the instructions, and you'll be good to go. You could do this through a weekend with one of your buddies or your kids and just make it an event for the weekend to do it. So that's what your basic leveling kit looks like. Nothing to it whatsoever. Um, so now it comes down again. It's a costing, right? That's $211. Where now a real kit, if you get into doing more off roading, you're towing a lot, you're doing some overlanding, that type of stuff, rock climbing, things of that nature. You're doing a hell of a lot more than just like driving to work or cruising the mall, if you will. Then you definitely don't want to just stick with a leveling kit. You're going to want to go with an actual real kit. And there's a ton of them out there. There's all different manufacturers. I've tried several of them. I've tried the Rough Country, the Terraflex, and then the AEV. And by far, for me, the AEV 4.5 Sport is probably one of the best ones out there. The issue with them right now is just trying to find it in stock. But that by far is probably one of the best engineered lift kits today on the market. Terraflex as well. I'm not going to knock Terraflex. They're great at what they do. Some great engineering there as well. The pricing could be a little bit higher for sure than an AEV. So you are going to pay a bit more for the Terraflex. In some cases, it'll come with more parts, additional things like control arms, you lower and upper. So you're investing in all of that as well. So with that being said, the Terraflex one that's out there that's pretty decent. This is one of them here. Again, way different than your leveling kit, right? You're not just getting pucks and reusing your stock springs, your stock suspension. You're actually going to change all of that out. And you'll have certain brackets here that'll go in the rear to adjust that geometry. Because once you start putting a bigger lift kit, much higher than a 2.5, you start hitting the threes and the 4.5s. It's going to change the way your drive shafts are. So your drive shafts today on a stock Jeep will kind of be leveled out like this, if you will. And once you start putting a kit, the drive shafts start to get more inclined. And what happens is the universal joints, where it goes, it connects to your front end and your rear end as well. It starts to put pressure because you have more of an incline, and when it goes to spin, it might rub up against metal to metal there, putting a lot of pressure on those universal joints, which have a bunch of little bearings in there, and you're going to have some problems down the road for sure. Sooner than later for sure. So, in order to avoid that, some of these lift kits will come with certain brackets to account for that and keep your stock geometry. This is one example here. This bracket goes in the back and it'll drop your traction bar and a few things to keep everything exactly the way it is for stock, but still giving you that lift. My preference, however, is this one here. By far, for me, this is the best kit that I've ever installed. The ride isn't super smooth, but it's not super rough. So you're going to get both. And as you could tell here, it's got a different type of spring compression. And basically, what that does is if you load it with some items like you're going overlanding or you're towing, this is super helpful to have them set up this way. It'll make it a much tighter and balanced ride when you tow something. And it comes with way more different brackets to keep that geometry, like I was saying, in place, where you don't have to go in and weld new control arms and do all sorts of things where you're going to have to actually weld, grind some of that stock stuff away. So they did a great job in the engineering here. The only thing that I did not retain when I did this was this piece here, which is it goes up front. It's for your steering. Your steering stabilizer. So I ended up installing a dual one. I have a dual on mine, but you could go ahead and use what they sent to you. It comes with the new traction bar. It comes with your drag link up front. So they come with everything. It comes with everything that you need to get yourself up to 4.5-inch lift. I did leave my Terraflex hockey pucks that I had installed originally. So I actually have like a 5.5, close to 6 inch range on the lift after installing this. And it's been great ever since. I've had it for 3 years now. I've done a bunch of off-roading with it. I tow my boat with it. No issues whatsoever. It stays nice and leveled. I get a lot of compliments on it, and it rides really, really well. So if you could get your hands on one of these, for sure, I would invest in an AEV. The Terraflex route, again, not a bad product. It's a bit pricier, but you're going to get what you pay for, and they are rock solid as well. Very well engineered. So definitely a thumbs up. The Rough Country, I've heard a lot of mixed reviews. They rust a lot, as well as with their ring and pinion kits. I've had a lot of people that have come to me and it's like, hey, I installed this Rough Country. It's weird after a year. There's a ton of rust on my shocks, on the springs that it came with. And you're going to go through all that trouble of installing these things. The last thing you want to do is have some of that stuff start to fall apart after a year. So I also changed my control arms. I ended up using the Terraflex Sport control arms. They're not adjustable, but it worked for me because the ratio still maintains with the stock. So I can get away with using just non-adjustable traction bars, but control arms, sorry. So I wanted something that was a bit beefier than what the stock ones come with. So I did end up installing the control arms from TerraFlex. So I have both the AEV lift going, and then I have the control arms, which I could show you here. Basically, this is what I installed in place of my stock. And the stock ones are not great. I definitely recommend changing it out to these guys here if you're going to go with that AEV. I know this says 2.5 to 3 inch lift, but they work just fine because of the geometry and the homework that they did to keep that stock, kind of ride, if you will, but still giving you that lift kit. So for sure, you're going to want to change these control arms if you go with a bigger lift. And in some cases, the Terraflexes, they'll come with these, but you're going to pay a decent amount for those type of lifts. Like this one alone without the control arms, you're looking at $1,000, where if you get like a full kit that has the full control arms, now you're looking at a $4,000 price range, but you're going to get everything. And in some cases with these, be careful because you will have to weld some of these pieces. Some of them you can just bolt on. That's what we call bolt-ons. But in some other instances, you are going to have to pull your MIG welder out and weld. So keep that in mind when you're ordering this. Make sure that's not the case if you're a weekend warrior. Again, if you want to just if you're just taking your Jeep to work and you're cruising the mall, the beach, that type of thing, you just want the look a little bit higher, 33s, definitely go with a leveling kit. It's totally fine to do that. It's going to retain all the same springs, the shocks, control arms, all of that will remain the same, but you'll still get a little bit of a lift. It'll still look good. And for me, my recommendation, don't go with 35s with a leveling kit. Just go with 33s. It'll look nicer. It'll ride better, and you'll be in good shape. Now, if you're one of those that it's going to get into overlanding, you're towing a lot, you're going off-road a lot, then for sure, save some money and go for the real lift, if you will, which is changing out the springs and everything, the control arm. So for me, I love my AEV. I've had it on for a couple of years now. There's really no rust at all with it, which is great. The springs are intact still. My shocks are doing great. So everything is still working as it should. So for me, I would recommend that one. But if you want to go with something smaller, you could definitely find some good Terraflexes out there. I would stay away from Rough Country. Monmouth is good as well out there. There's a few other brands. But for me, by far, the AEV is the best one. So again, any questions, please feel free to reach out to Mario@JeepTorque.com or leave a comment here on either my YouTube channel, which is Jeep Torque FL, or go ahead and leave a comment on TikTok, and I will catch you guys on the next one.